Hello everyone, Dr. Sutter Caton, physical therapist here with Vive Health. I'm looking forward to sharing all my knowledge with you and I hope you enjoy. So now we're going to get into some exercises to start strengthening the muscles, the joints, the tissues surrounding the ankle to help prevent ankle injuries. So it's nice to have a elastic strap for this one. What you're going to do is the looped end is going to go around the working ankle, the working foot, and then you can anchor it under your other foot so it doesn't go anywhere. What the exercise is, main thing is don't cheat with the hip. I want all the motion coming from the ankle, so I'm everting my foot as we call it. I'm turning the toes out, working on some of the muscles and stressing the tissues on the side of the ankle and the leg there. And so it's very easy to kind of cheat, lift the leg up, swing the whole thigh out. So I like to sometimes place my hands on my thigh just to provide a cue for when I'm moving my thigh and not just the lower leg. And so if you're specific and isolated with it, it's not a particularly big motion, but very important for preventing ankle injuries. So for the next ankle exercise, we're going to be working the inversion of the ankle or the toes turning in. So what you want to do is have your band again. This time you want to anchor it under your chair leg so that this way the band is pulling you to the outside. And then what I'm going to do, similar to the other ankle exercises, I'm going to rotate in against the resistance of the band. So you may need to move the foot a little further away, find a good resistance where 10 to 15 is a challenging number. Like some other ones, I want to make sure I'm not cheating and using the bigger muscles of my hip to fake the motion. I really want to, once again, I like to put my hands on the thigh. I really want to make sure that motion's just coming from the knee down and specifically the ankle down. So the next exercise we're going to do is aimed at improving dorsiflexion strength of the ankle. So dorsiflexion is the motion with the toes being pulled towards you. So you're going to have your band here anchored straight on away from you with the band looped around your foot. And what you're going to do is let the band pull you away and then pull your toes towards you. So it's very easy to cheat on this exercise. A lot of people want to kind of bend their knee and use some other bigger muscles, but you're really focused on the muscles on the front of the shin there. So I'm pulling back, letting it get stretched all the way, pulling back again. So you want a good resistance at about 10 to 15 repetitions is a challenge for you. So the exercise I'm going to show you here is really tailored to preventing lateral ankle sprains. We're working the muscles responsible for keeping us out of that susceptible position where we can get injured. So when the foot rolls to the outside and the toes turn in. So what you're going to do here is place your band around the working ankle and then you're actually going to run it underneath the other foot and then you're going to hold it up here. So that way the pull of the band is in the motion or is in the direction that we want to work for this exercise. So once you're in position, it's similar to some other exercises you may have seen, is instead of just going straight out like that, what we're going to do is pull the foot towards us as we turn the foot out. So I tell people sometimes to think about dropping the inner part of the ankle away from you is sort of the motion that we're doing here. So that's why it's important to have that other foot there to make sure the pull of the band is not just resisting you going out, but it's also resisting you pulling towards you. So the next exercise, a little more advanced, it's going to be aimed at improving the eccentric control of the muscles and the tissues on the outside of the ankle that are super important for preventing ankle sprains and other ankle injuries. So it's good to have a nice baseline of strength with some more basic banded exercises before you progress to this. And it also isn't a good one to do if you're in pain or you've had a recent injury. It's a little more aimed at preventing future injuries and return to a sport or return to a high level activity. So you want to have a chair in front of you. You're going to use this to control how much of your body weight you're using on this exercise. I'm gonna first kind of bend over a little bit, almost like as if I was doing a hip hinge or a deadlift. So my weight's mostly in my heels, but not entirely. And then what you're gonna do is both ankles are gonna flare out, and then you're gonna bring them back together. So you're really almost putting yourself in that position where the ankle is susceptible to getting sprained when you're doing a sport or another activity where you're not able to control it in a specific manner like we are here. And so you have control of how much weight you're using. So to start out, you obviously want to be very light. You should feel a stretch on the outside of the shin there. And so when I mentioned we're working on eccentric strength, what I mean by that is the muscle's working while it's being stretched. So as you're flaring the ankles out, these muscles are kind of putting on the brakes. If they didn't work at all, you'd totally flop over. So what they're doing here is controlling how much of that ankle is rolling up, and then we're using the muscles on the inside to pull us back there. And a way to progress it, an even more advanced technique, is to do it on one foot. But now you're looking at very high level of strength required and really looking to use that for an athlete who's getting ready to return to basketball or another sport that leaves them very open to getting an ankle injury. So the next exercise we're going to show you, it's called the Y drill. And so once again, it's a little more advanced exercise because now we're incorporating single leg balance, we're incorporating core stability, and we're putting it into a functional movement that's gonna be more geared towards the later stages of rehab or just high-level injury prevention. So what you're gonna do, it's helpful to have targets. You don't absolutely need them, but I like to use little targets. You're gonna have one in front of you and then 3 behind you. And so the exercise here, you're gonna be on one foot, little bend in the knees, little bend at the hip, but not too much. And then your goal is to reach out, touch the target or get close to it. I want the form to stay good, so if I have a target that's too far away or I'm tired or for whatever reason, I start doing some kind of crazy things with the rest of my body, then move it a little bit back or take a break and get after it again. The whole goal here is to really challenge that leg and that ankle, so I don't want to see a lot of movement from the rest of the body. So I'm gonna go for that front one. I'm gonna reach for the back one, the one right behind me, and then you can always tap your foot down if you get a little off balance. You don't have to flow between them without touching the ground. That's a good way to regress it, is to take a break between each one. And then the particularly hard one is the one off to the side behind you. And so you want to build up, so I would start with touching one, putting the foot down in between, touching another, putting the foot down, progress to trying to make it through all of them without touching down. And then once you can go through that, then you can do additional times through. So maybe 5 times through without touching. You're really gonna feel that ankle start to fatigue, but that's a good sign that you're working. So another great way to progress the Y balance drill is to place your foot on a foam pad, a nice easy way to make it a little bit more challenging, adding that unstable surface underneath the foot, increasing the demands required by the ankle. So you're gonna place that down right where you'd normally stand. Go on your one foot and just the same thing you did before. Now, you are a little elevated on the pad, so you may need to move your targets a little closer to you to offset that. But now I'm gonna reach forward and you can see my ankle and my leg wobbling a bit more, really challenged by this unstable surface. I hope you found the video helpful, and thank you for watching.